Before we get into the video, you guys know we like to bring you the latest Ohio State news. I personally am doing that on X, Twitter, whatever you guys want to call it. Be sure to give me a follow right now. We'll do real-time updates, almost to 1,000 followers. And right now, I am following back. Head to Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at 3rdBB, and give me a follow. Ohio State has a current opening at its offensive coordinator position. It also has some reviews in on other coaches. There is coaching news and rumors for Ohio State football right now. We wanted to break down the latest, what we know, what we're hearing both from you guys, Twitter, social media, and of course the reports we're also hearing from players. So let's jump right into it. I don't want to waste your time. Brian Daboll, who we talked a little bit about last week, he was linked to the job by multiple different beat writers, reporters, TV, radio. They were all talking Brian Daboll for a minute. That has now quieted down. Why? Because Brian Daboll has gotten NFL interest. Gotten these interviews, the Titans head coaching job, the Eagles offensive coordinator position, and Adam Schefter also noted that Daboll would have more interviews coming up. I know the Bills job just opened this morning. I imagine with what he did with Josh Allen, he may get interest there. So that's going to tone down a little bit. And I think the theme we'll get into today is if you have NFL interest, real NFL interest, it's very hard to go down to college football. Daboll's a good example. We'll talk Mike McDaniel. You know, there's a difference between out of the NFL and needing to get back and still being in those circles and being related to college football. So I think the Daboll hype has kind of died down for Ohio State. However, did want to check in with you guys on that. What percent chance, give me a percentage, do we find Brian Daboll at Ohio State next season? Hey, maybe you're of the mind that he's done in the NFL and he needs a college coaching job or a job in general. Give me a percentage down below. Other coaching names mentioned, and this one's straight off social media. I don't have an ESPN report or an official On3 or, you know, all the ones we like to track and give you guys. This is straight from the people, and you know what? The first one, I'm all about it. JT Barrett, a great year with the Chicago Bears, currently their quarterback's coach. Bring a legend home, right? We mentioned him on our initial Brian Hartline replacement show. You know, the Buckeyes filled that wide receivers coach job with Cortez Hankton, but the OC job still open from Brian Hartline. Could Ryan Day surprise us and go get JT Barrett? I mean, none of us expected Matt Patricia last year as the defensive coordinator. I would love this. Caleb Williams had a great year. There's some juice with JT Barrett right now. He now has the experience under his belt. He's done Detroit and Chicago as an assistant, then quarterback's coach. Thing is, you do have to note, he's rising up the NFL ranks, right? JT Barrett is gaining steam in the NFL. I could easily see him moving forward as, you know, me and Aiden Priest were talking about it before this, next to his passing game coordinator, OC, some type of NFL job, or is he, hey, best way to get that is do well in college as a coordinator. You know how we like to do it here. We believe if we work together, get some good mojo, don't jinx it, whatever you want to call it. You want JT Barrett. Let us know if you want him as the offensive coordinator. Hit that thumbs up button. You can look at the likes number as it goes up. That's the amount of fans that want JT to come home to the Buckeyes. The other name mentioned social media-wise, really, again, no reports of a link to Ohio State. The reports with former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel that got, and it's McDaniel, by the way, no S, his rumored whatever was that, yes, he would be happy with an offensive coordinator job, the right offensive coordinator job. Buckeye fans start getting excited. Ooh, and we're talking NFL interest here. There is no chance this is happening. McDaniel coming to Columbus, being with the Buckeyes. Because, again, I go back to the Daboll point. When you're still in that world, when you're still being considered, talked about in NFL circles, it's not an option to drop down. You know, we look at the Chip Kelly scenario many, many times. Chip Kelly was out of the NFL. Nowhere to be found, no circle to be had, no connections left. He had to regain that NFL juice. McDaniel still has it, right? He is not far removed from taking Tua turn the ball over to the playoffs, okay? He still has that NFL juice. No chance Mike McDaniel is an option. I know Buckeye fans got excited. I'm going no on this one. Talking about Hartline replacements, those were all OC options. They filled Brian Hartline's wide receiver coach position with Cortez Hankton, the former LSU and Georgia wide receivers coach after their playoff loss. We have now gotten, I don't know, about a month of work out of Cortez Hankton. You'd think, oh, 1 month. He's had a lot to do and prove himself already, and we're going to jump into how he has done so far in just a second. But first, time to talk about some big stuff coming up, and Prize Picks is the best way to take advantage. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get in to the football action before next season, So close the season outright with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. Look at a big game, of course, here. Carson Beck, I like the way he's playing. We're going to go more on his passing attempts. I think it's going to come down to Beck no matter what, so we'll go more on the 29.5 passing attempts. Don't see us do that often. Just want to mention that. We did get that on there. More on Malachi Toney. That's his guy, right? So we'll take more on the 5.5 receptions there. And then, of course, Fernando slinging it to Omar Cooper. And again, you guys know I love rushing plus receiving. As long as he gets one of those, you're good on the more. Good example there. We also have the new feature alert right now, early payouts, right? So if you got 2 of those, looking good, feeling good, your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So, best way to do all this, download the app today, and this is a great deal to take advantage. When you use code CLNS, you get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And again, that's just playing your first $5 lineup. Don't necessarily have to win. Prize Picks, they always say, it's good to be right. All right, we said Cortez Hankton's been busy, right? You would think just hired him, not a huge deal, let him ease into the job. He really has not had time to ease into the job. So the recent stuff he's dealt with, he had the job right away of retaining portal players. Now, look, there's a money aspect to this, so I do want to, go with that. And yeah, maybe they talk straight to Ryan Day about playing time. I respect that. However, the Buckeyes lost 3 names at the wide receiver position, 2 5-stars and a 4-star. Graham and Porter go to Notre Dame, and Miller is off to Stanford as a wide receiver. So immediately, the first thing when Ohio State fans were kind of panicking about retention and the receiver room in general, that was the first, what is Cortez Hankton doing? He's losing all our talent. I don't know, money, playing time, convincing, you basically have to re-recruit these guys. So that was playing against Cortez Hankton to begin his kind of time at Ohio State, but the Buckeyes answered by adding from the portal at the wide receiver position. Again, you're basically going back to the recruiting zone. If you're Cortez Hankton, you're trying to get receivers for Ohio State. He got 2, and I think he got 2 good ones. Again, Devin McCune has a lot of experience at UTSA. His 2025 season was really, really good. He's not huge, but I think he's going to play the outside, actually. It's kind of surprising, and I think it's a possible, Chris Henry Jr. is not fully ready to go plan. And then Kyle Parker's a slot receiver from LSU, can play the outside, and Hankton recruited him to LSU. Now he recruits him to Ohio State. My opinion, if you lose those receivers and you get some hate for losing those guys, you should get the credit for bringing in a Devin McCune. And Kyle Parker's got 2 years of eligibility left. I think he's going to be a really good player for Ohio State in the next 2 years. Finally, Hankton, yes, he is on the recruiting trail. New coaches have to do this. New coordinators have to do this. You take over a job in recruiting, you have to kind of jump in and immediately call the guys that were already recruited and keep on track with them, right? So we did hear from multiple big names, the sort of reviews of the first initial meetings with Cortez Hankton, and obviously the big ones are Chris Henry Jr., Jaquaden Guilford, and then Ohio State has a 5-star on the hook for the 2027 class. Jameer Brown, the number 1 receiver there. So let's start with Chris Henry Jr. His thoughts on Cortez Hankton. He actually said he was getting his hair cut and got a text from Cortez Hankton, and it was excited to coach you, and that's how he knew they hired him. So he kind of leapt out of his seat and called him. I'm excited for him. I liked him when he was at LSU. Again, you would think, yes, Hankton was recruiting Chris Henry Jr. at points. Same with Jaquaden Guilford He's a great coach, and I think that this was a terrific pickup. He's got guys in the league in the first round, and he knows how to develop wide receivers. You'll love to hear that. Jaquaden Guilford, the number one receiver in the state of Indiana. I certainly think he's going to get some time on the field for Ohio State. And again, you don't want to see 4 stars and 5 stars leave anymore. These relationships are going to matter. He said he's ready to come in and work with us, and I'm ready to work with him. We're all ready to come in. It'll be fresh and new with each other. Coach Hartline left a great foundation for him, so he's going to come in and prove why he's one of the best. You like those, right? Those are good reviews from the players. So, what is your review of Cortez Hankton so far for Ohio State? I broke down for you what he's done, hasn't done, what he's dealt with. Give me a grade, A, B, C, D, or F for the Buckeyes' new wide receivers coach. Now, I mentioned Jameer Brown, his review. Jameer Brown is the number 1 wide receiver in the class of 2027, so you're going to get him in 2 years. This is actually the most I've ever talked to him here and there, but I've never actually talked to him that much. Now we probably talk twice a week maybe. This one's big. This is going to be like a test. I think this is the first real test for Cortez Hankton. This is a guy that was gifted to you. The groundwork is already done. You just got to make sure he's a Buckeye. This will continue the 5-star train, the first-round pick train, the Buckeye wide receiver you train. Jameer Brown's big. This is big for Ohio State. You got to have Jameer Brown here. So, get him to Columbus. He's already committed to Ohio State. You had the Chris Henry Jr. struggles when Hartline left. You don't want the same thing here. Big for Hankton to get it done with Jameer Brown. Sticking with coaching, Matt Patricia. Where are the Buckeyes at with Matt Patricia? It's a great question. We're kind of hearing a little bit more about extension talks, about more signing up for OSU than NFL rumors, which is good. We heard some initial NFL rumors. Now I think it's geared towards Patricia signing back up with Ohio State. Again, great in 2025. Buckeyes defense, great stuff. And again, I am a believer, and I do kind of think you're kind of in that zone where it's like the Buckeyes are good, so just don't mess them up. But, a lot of hate for Matt Patricia when they hired him. I thought he was good enough and played, this defense's strengths and made them good and player strengths. And great year for Matt Patricia. We haven't heard much about the NFL, which I think is a good thing, and we have heard tiny bit about extension talks, getting him here for a couple more years. So we'll keep you up to date on that piece of coaching news and all coaching news here on the Ohio State Football Report. Still searching for a new offensive coordinator. New names every day related to that job. A Patricia extension in the works. And again, when those new coaches come in, we'll update you on what they're saying, thinking, doing, feeling. You guys know how it works. When you hit that sub button, everything's free and comes right to you here on the Ohio State Football Report.